Set to take a new high-resolution look at our planet. The PACE satellite right there perched atop a SpaceX rocket as we speak in Florida. Now, if the weather clears, that rocket will launch just after midnight our time. If not, they'll try to launch 24 hours later. PACE is an acronym for Plankton, Aerosol, Cloud, and Ocean Ecosystem. The mission will be to monitor more closely the Earth's oceans and atmosphere and how they interact. And we're joined now by Erin Urquhart. She is the program manager of NASA Water Resources. So, Erin, we know there are a lot of satellites up there monitoring what's going on down here. What makes PACE different? What sets it apart?
So PACE is NASA's first global hyperspectral satellite. And so I'm going to explain real quick what that means. So let's think about the fact that you can see the ocean with 8 colors. So your typical Crayola pack. Now what PACE is going to let you do is it's going to give you that Costco pack. So instead of having 8 crayons, you're going to have 289 crayons. And that's going to allow us to understand the oceans, the atmospheres, and our terrestrial ecosystems like never before. From that, we're going to be able to learn about things like harmful algal blooms, things in the water that are causing issues. We're going to look at clouds and aerosols and air quality. And then really, we're just going to be able to understand how all of these different Earth ecosystems change and interact and influence each other.
All right, let's start with the oceans because you brought them up there. And this past summer, there was a lot of research that came out, right, about the ocean currents, especially in the Atlantic Ocean, changing. The Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, also known as AMOC. I did some research on that. So that's a big one because it moderates temperatures around the planet, but it is changing because of the planet changing. How does PACE allow you to kind of stay ahead of that and maybe forecast what we might see because of those changing currents?
Yeah, that's a great question. So while PACE itself doesn't look at surface temperature, it can start to look at the color of these things. And so when you're looking at that current that's moving around the globe, the different colors that we're going to see from that ocean color is going to tell us different things about what's going on in the water. So with these currents and all these nutrients and these warmer waters, we're going to start to see changes in the ecosystem and the organisms. So like I said, PACE is predominantly going to look at plankton in these coastal systems, and these different plankton indicates that that water that's warm and nutrient rich is just teeming with life. And what's going on there, what PACE can do is it can look and understand not just what's in the water, is algae and phytoplankton in those waters, but who's in that water. And the who's in the water is really important because different phytoplankton species do different things in terms of carbon export, in terms of if they're harmful, if they're not harmful, how they influence our global fisheries, and things like that.
So what about the who that lives in these coastal communities, right? We've been monitoring that now for years because the coasts are changing. What does that mean for them?
Yeah. So harmful algal blooms are kind of the big thing in coastal ecosystems that people like you and me, people that go to the beach, people that fish are really concerned about. So in addition to science and research, PACE is really going to provide societal benefits. So it's going to be able to help decision makers, coastal water quality managers, coastal managers that decide, do we close beaches? With the PACE data, we're going to be able to tell those managers, is there a specific harmful species in the water that's going to be an issue for our human health?
Let's go to air quality because you will now be monitoring particles in the air, and obviously the thing that has been in the news quite a bit over the last several years, wildfires, so much smoke in the air. So what will PACE allow you to do in terms of assessing what perhaps damage has been done to the air?
So in addition to looking at the oceans, PACE is going to allow us to look at our atmospheres in a whole new way. So similar to where in the ocean we can start to decipher what are the different ocean properties, in the atmosphere we can do the same thing. So in our global atmospheres, we have all different aerosols. Now PACE is going to allow us to look at what is the aerosol. So we can start to pull apart, is this smoke? Is this sea spray? Are they clouds? Are they volcanic emissions? And so with that data, like I said, with smoke, we can understand the transport of wildfire smoke. We can understand where it's coming from and what is the risk for air quality kind of downstream of these fires.
All right, Erin, last question for you. This program has been in the works now for about, I believe NASA said 21 years in the making, but what was prevalent 21 years ago is different from what's prevalent today. So how much forward thinking does it take to design a satellite to look essentially 21 years in the future?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I'm laughing because we always joke around here that Pace is old enough to drink. But you're right; it's been in the making for 21 years, and the questions that they were asking 21 years ago during the pre-formulation, designing the characteristics of these instruments in this observatory, they were thinking so far ahead back there because we were able to base those questions 20 years ago on what does the community need and what were the existing satellites at that time not able to tell us. So PACE being this new unprecedented satellite is really, it's this exploration mission that's going to kind of think forward for the next 20 years and tell us things about the environment that we've never been able to answer before.
It sounds very exciting. Erin, thanks so much. Good luck with the launch. Hopefully it goes off as scheduled and then with the project.
Thank you so much.